Hello, good morning, and welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social. I am Graham Hughes. Sorry for being late. I'm a terrible boy. That's it. That's the only excuse. Diz, thank you very much for being the first to join us this morning. We've also got Richard in the chat. We've got David Coombs. We've got Daylight M. We have got Townsend V. We also have Richard as well, and Pygmalion. So, Welcome to the brew. It is Friday, the 26th of December 2025. It is Boxing Day for us Brits. Boxing Day, a thing that they don't have in America. Did you know this? Did you know they don't have Boxing Day in America? Well, it's true. They don't have Boxing Day in America. It's not a thing. You know, like maternity leave or, you know, rights or democracy or chocolate that doesn't taste like vomit. Yep, that is, the power for the cause. They're all back in work today. It's not a public holiday. But here in the UK, generally speaking, people, unless they're in the retail sector, are off work. Now, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about capitalism. Because I heard a story the other day. A story from a friend who had they live on the other side of the planet in a faraway land known as Middle Earth, also known as New Zealand. Now, trying to get from New Zealand to the United Kingdom during the holiday with a couple of kids in tow is not cheap. In fact, it costs about 11,000 New Zealand dollars. New Zealand dollar is worth about 43p, so you're looking at about $5,000. Okay, $5,000 for these tickets, right? And I've often talked in general and on this show about how you can't make one mistake in this life. You make one minor error, and it's a bit like in Demolition Man where the fines come out the wall when you swear. It's like, okay, so you went into a car park and they had big instructions to read to get in the car park, but you misread them. Mistake. You're out of it. Or you drive into a box junction because your exit is clear, but then someone pulls out from the left and gets in front of you and you're trapped in the box junction. Bang! Photograph. You've got to pay a fine. You've got to pay a fine for that. Not your fault. Not your fault. How could you predict that someone was just going to pull out in front of you when you enter the box junction? It was clear. And they do this shit on purpose. They have motorway signs that you're trundling along at 70 miles an hour, and then it'll be 40 and you'll get no notice except the gantries, but it's pissing down with rain, so you can't actually see the numbers because they're too bright, and as fast as the window wipers are going, they're not wiping quite fast enough, so you slow down to 50 miles an hour because you assume they're not going to just knock it down from 70 to 40 on one yeah, they are. There you go, 3 points on your license, £150 fine. Thank you very much. You can't make one mistake. You make a mistake on an application form, you don't get you don't get the loan, you don't get the job. You go, we found a small mistake. And nowhere in life is this more true than when you fly. You have to get absolutely everything right. It's a test, and you have to get 100% on the test, or you will be fined a fuckload usually. And so in this particular case, when filling out the names of everyone in the family to fly, there was a boy called William, and the dad filling out the forms for buying the tickets, which is, don't forget, you got a little countdown going, we're going to hold the tickets for X amount of time, quick, put in the details, so you type it in, and it must be exactly as it is in the passport, and he accidentally put a typo in his son's name and missed one of the L's out of William. Now, don't forget, William spelled I-L-L-I. So, that's difficult at the best of times because a capital I looks like a lowercase L. Whatever. But he just made this small mistake. This small, tiny, seemingly insignificant mistake. And he noticed. And he said, I need to change the name by one letter. One letter. That's just all I need. Just put that extra L in. I just need to put that extra L in. Thank you very much. And they said, oh no, you have to cancel and rebook your tickets. Now, he didn't actually notice this mistake until literally a few days before they were supposed to fly out. And he's like, oh, I have to cancel William's ticket, right? No. All 4 tickets, you have to cancel them and buy them again. Oh, and by the way, the price of buying them again has absolutely shot up. In fact, it's gone up by nearly 3 times what it was. They wanted, and this is no word of a lie, 31,000 New Zealand dollars in order to change that one letter. Because that's the system. There's only one conclusion that one can reasonably draw from this. Corporations hate us. They absolutely hate us. It's been described in this wonderful way, which is that corporations seem pissed that they have to go through us to get to our money. And they are on a mission to make our lives as shitty as humanly possible. You go from anything, not just the enshitification of the internet, but the enshitification of absolutely everything. The way that, I don't know if anyone got the stuff delivered over Christmas from anyone. It was literally a bang on the door, like it was the police saying open up, and just a package left on the front doorstep. If you were so minded to follow the Amazon van around, you'd probably get quite a bit of a haul this Christmas. They don't care. They'll yeet it over the fence into your back garden, make it land in a puddle. They really just get that stuff out. And it's not their fault, because these corporations don't just hate us, the customers. We're not called customers anymore, we're called consumers. That's very telling. But they also seem to hate the people who work for them. You know, why are we having to pay these people to do jobs? Grr. You know, we just want to like break people open and take all the lovely money, gloopy money that's inside them. And it is just crazy when you think that companies once competed to earn our loyalty. Now it's just a given. Because if you need something delivering the next day, you're going to use Amazon, because it's the only one that can guarantee it's going to be delivered the next day. If you want if you want to drink water or take a shit in the southeast, you got to use Thames Water. You got no choice. That's the only company that will allow you to pay it to do those to provide those facilities or use those facilities. And if you don't pay them, you go to court. You know, you don't pay them because, I don't know, they're smearing shit everywhere and there's loads of water leaks and they're putting your price up to fix their problems that they created. They've not made any new reservoirs, have they? They're not invested in the infrastructure, have they? Of course they haven't. And this shift from the customer is always right, and I know that's a misquote. It was always, the customer is always right in matters of taste. That's the full quote. But it has gone from this idea of putting the customer first to the customer being a nuisance. Like Faulty Towers, Basil Faulty seemed to get more annoyed that people wanted to stay at his hotel than, you know, getting annoyed that people didn't. And it mirrors this shift from these companies providing us a service, working for us, to the extraction of wealth, the toxic way they go about their businesses these days is just mind-blowing. And we saw yesterday a nice heartwarming Christmas story about the CEO of Bet365, which has killed more young men than most other things, like drugs, I think. I don't know, I'd have to look up the stats on that. But gambling is a blight on our society. And because they've got friends in the Tory party, and because they've got powerful lobby groups and Tufton Street links and all that, nothing's done about it. She's just given herself a, £400 million pay packet. That's all right for some, isn't it? Meanwhile, there are people who spent Christmas in a shelter or in a B&B somewhere because they've lost their home because of problem gambling. Thanks very much for the £5 super chat. That is very kind of you. And Umka says, the UK shall stop kissing US ass and copy America's Worst habits. The UK kneels in front of large capitals, but don't project this onto all of Europe. Well, yeah, and I want to talk about that as well, because what stands in the way? Thank you very much for the super chat there, Umka. What stands in the way of this, of this unfettered capitalism? The EU. It's the only thing. It is literally the only thing that has the power and the morality needed. You know, I know there's a lot of political expediency that goes into it as well, but they're the ones who said, no, you're not going to have different cables for your stupid phones, Mr. Jobs. You're going to have this. Well, he's dead now, but, you know, Tim Apple. You're going to have this particular cable, and that you're going to have to change all your phones. And they're like, oh, we don't want to do this. And then they just did it. Do you know why they did it? Because if you can't sell in the EU, loads of other countries won't take your product either, because they rely on EU standards. The CE mark is relied on all over the world, including in this country, where we just double them now. We have like a UK CA mark, which is just okay. Yeah, I'm just going to set up a thing for. I know everyone was so generous yesterday, so honestly, do not worry about this at all. Oh, I don't know why this is being difficult. Why are you being difficult? I'm trying to be cool here, and then you're just throwing a load of nonsense at me. One sec, everyone. I'm putting the wrong word in. It doesn't like it. It doesn't like me today. Look, I'm talking about corporations, and what happens is we get a load of shit from the corporations. Right, Boxing Day confetti. There we go. Oh, I should give it an hour, shouldn't I? In fact, I'll give it 2 hours. I'm not going to be rabbiting for 2 hours. Don't worry. Don't worry. Give you things to do with your day. There you go. Okay, right. So it says, share with your audience to get them excited. So Diz, get excited, my friend. Okay, so yeah, and humans, I guess, we are in the middle of a revolution at the moment, because these companies are genuinely trying to do away with us, which makes no sense whatsoever, does it? In the long run, there's no humans left. There's going to be no one left to buy their services. But these oligarchs just want to live in their bunkers while humans just consume. But if we've got no money to consume, we've got no money to buy stuff, how does that work? And humans complicate the purity of profit, because we demand, I don't know, safety. You know, we demand that goods that we eat and consume are safe to do so. We demand wages and rights and compensation and refunds and healthcare and pensions. Bastards. And the most profitable customers today are passive subscribers, or automated payments, where it's all done automatically. Not people turning up at your counter with some money, who have complex needs and emotions and complaints if things go wrong. And workers now feel overheated, feel overhead costs, rather than partners in any given company. You know, you're just an inconvenience that they have to pay you. They'd rather you just work for free, be a slave, and then sell all this stuff, which is all automated on a subscription basis, and no one actually ever owns anything ever again. I'm still pissed with Adobe for just jacking up the price of my subscription to Premiere and Photoshop and the rest of the CS suite from around £25 a month. They jacked it up to £68 a month, and I didn't get any notification. One of them might have gone to an email address that I barely bloody look at. But I have a backup email address that they didn't use. I have a phone number registered with them that they didn't use. And also, I use their products every day, and they always tell me to update. Like every day, it's Adobe One Kenobi, update the Force. Never once did I open up Photoshop one morning and said, hey, Graham, by the way, we're going to jack up your subscription price from £25 to £68. And also, when that happened, I was away. I was traveling. I was in Canada or Panama or something. I wasn't doing my usual due diligence of checking on my statements and all that kind of stuff like I normally do. And it did actually take me another month after I got back, because I was, I had a lot of shit to get on with. I've got to work each day. I've got to think of things to talk about on these shows. I've got to, that sounds rubbish. I've got things to do. I genuinely do have things to be getting on with, especially through October and November. It was like every moment that I wasn't streaming, I was busy doing something. I just didn't have the time. And because of that mistake of not checking my statements, which I don't get through the post anymore because they just appear on my app if I decide to look at that particular thing on that particular day, because it only gives you the last couple of things that have gone through. So if you've bought a bunch of stuff on your card, the fact that Adobe has taken £68 off you will go right down on the list. Might go, you might have to go into the little bit where you go to find your PDFs and you download your PDF of your statements and look at that. They don't make it easy. They're genuine, and they don't make it easy because they want you to fall into one of their traps, one of their many traps. Subscription is one of them, where they jack up the price. We've had this with the internet, haven't we? Where I'm sure this has affected some people watching this, where they have bought internet at a cheap price for a year, right? And you think, oh, right, that price is guaranteed for a year, right? Right? No, it's not. So your contract lasts a year. It might last 2 years, but they can jack up the price, and they do. BT did this. Sky did this. Virgin did this. You would be with them for a month, and then they would write to you. You sign up in February, and in March they will write to you saying, oh, by the way, you signed up for £28 a month. Well, actually, it's going to be £38 a month. Psych! Okay, I don't want that anymore. Well, you got to pay for the rest of the year. What? You got to pay for the rest of the year. And Adobe and other companies do this as well, where if you say, I don't want this product anymore, they say, yeah, but you don't pay monthly, you pay yearly, but we spread the payments throughout the year. So if it is 1 month into your Amazon contract, which is all the terms and conditions that no one has time to read, they go, we trapped you. You owe us for the rest of the year. And also, we jacked the price up to £68 a month. So, congratulations, Graham. You owe us £758 or whatever it came to. What? And you look at Netflix and Amazon on TV, Amazon TV, you look at Apple TV, they're all doing the same thing, Disney Plus, they're jacking up the prices, the enshitification, they're taking TV shows off so you can't watch them anymore, they are taking films off, they are adding adverts, so you've got to watch adverts before you can watch something, which is incredibly frustrating if you're trying to find something that you were watching a while back and then you're like, oh, I'm going to pick up on this. And maybe you're in someone else's house and you go on, you go on their Amazon or whatever, and you try and find the episode that you're up to. But to figure out which episode you're up to a lot of the time, because the description's so vague, you've got to have a look, watch the beginning of the show to make sure that that's the one that you're up to, right? Right? Yeah, do you think Amazon's going to let you do that without watching a fucking advert? So you got to sit there for 2.5 minutes watching adverts, and then it's the wrong fucking episode, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, back, forward. The enshitification of everything. We stopped in Liverpool on Christmas Eve, me and Kat. We went to the Christmas market at the St George's Hall, and it was lovely. Like there's a fun fair, and there's people selling churros and stuff like that. It was mulled wine. It was just really lovely. Real great Christmassy atmosphere there. But in order to do so, we had to park our car. To park our fucking car. Jesus Christ! We turn up and they've got a pay and display, right? And for 3 hours, it's £6. Doesn't take notes. Doesn't take card. You've got to have 6 literal pound coins in your pocket. No change, by the way. No change. So, So while Kat is trying to download the app that you need, and then I ran over to the pub. I went over to the Ship and Mitre to get change of a £5. And I come back, and, she still... She downloads it and it says, oh, you've already registered for this, what's your password? What the fuck? Who remembers their parking password from 7 years ago when they last parked in that particular car park that uses that particular fucking app? Are you kidding me? So she's trying all these different... We're standing there, waiting to go to wherever we're going, and the enshitification. And fuck, if you make a mistake, God, if you put a tyre on the comes over the box a little bit, or I don't know, you're a little bit late getting back. I once got a car parking fine because we parked, got out, went to the machine, tried to pay, couldn't pay, because they make it as difficult as possible on purpose. It's the same reason they make you walk through IKEA to buy anything. You know, you go in to buy a light bulb and you come out with half a kitchen. They do it on purpose. That's why you have to walk through the bloody perfume aisle and the really expensive alcohol aisle when you're going to the airport. And it's not a straight line anymore, is it? It's a wavy line that you got to go through the wavy line, through all the adverts, through all the merch. Walk through the merch to get to. They do it on purpose. So we're in this car park. This was in Liverpool. This was in the Keynes Brewery, outside the Keynes Brewery, and we're at the machine. And it won't take our money. It won't take our cash. It won't take our fucking bank cards for whatever fucking reason. We're trying to get the app to work. We're downloading the app because every fucking car park has its own fucking app. Great job, capitalism. And eventually we're like, fuck it, we can't do this. We'll have to go. So we get in the car and we drive out. And I get a fine through the post, 60 quid. 60 quid, private fine for parking illegally. Here's a picture of you coming in. Here's a picture of you going out. And apparently we were allowed 5 minutes grace to park the car and buy a ticket. And because we took 5.5 minutes, and it had the time at the bottom of the picture, we had to pay a fine. We had to pay a fine. Even though we went in, we tried to pay, and, you know, we were trying to do the right thing, but the machine would not let us do the right thing. So we left without paying, without parking. We didn't stay there, and yet they still wanted money. I managed to get money back from that, but then not the money back, sorry. I managed to argue against that, but then a couple of weeks later, same fucking parking company, right? I go to a clinic in Durham to have a scan, a scary scan. You know, the scans that you don't want to have because, you know, reasons, right? And I park up, and it's one of them. It's not pay and display. It's park as you leave. And there's no barrier. There's no barrier that you've got to put your card in. There's nothing like that. You've just got to remember to pay as you. I'm ADHD, and I'm going in for a scary fucking scan. I'm shitting bricks about what the result will be. And I walk out, and I just assume that it's just, you know, for whatever reason, I didn't see the signs with the, you know, the tiny writing on saying you have to buy a ticket when you get back to your car. You have to log the time you come in, you know, make a note on your hand and say how long you've been there, or you make a mistake or whatever. And I did end up having to pay that fucking fine. You can't make a mistake. They're doing it on purpose. And, you know, all they care about is profit. They don't care about us, the customers. They just care about the bottom line. And we're seeing this more and more. I mean, this isn't anything new. 20 years ago, a movie came out, a documentary called The Corporation, in which they looked at the things that define a psychopath, and they applied it to corporations, and are corporations psychopaths? And it turns out, yes, they are psychopaths. And Paula Thomas, thank you so much for the £5 British pounds. We also don't have a free press. We have a corporate press. That is very true. There you go. Stuff it bed feels really comfy, says Colin. I like that. ADHD tax. Yeah, it is. ADHD tax is real. And they set things up in order to screw us over in that respect. And so then you've got the fact that corporate executives prioritise shareholder returns and bonuses and quarterly targets over well-being, over human beings' well-beings. And that's kind of crazy, isn't it? Ian Jar, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. It's very kind of you, my friend. Have you noticed you can't safely walk to an airport, but parking £25 per hour. Trains prices include access charges and drop-off fees are now £10. Yeah, Ian. So when a friend of mine was coming back from Ukraine, he had been there. He had dropped off so we had raised money for Ukraine through UK for UKR, and we had used that money to buy a 4x4 that could be used to transport humanitarian supplies around the country. We asked people in Ukraine, like, what is it that you need? And obviously there was medical products and stuff like that. You can get it over the counter. But also they said, what we really need is stuff to be able to move around. We need vehicles. And so we got this second-hand 4x4, worked reasonably well, just been serviced. And my friend drove it to Ukraine, and then he flew back, right? And I came to meet him at Liverpool Airport, and he said, oh, I'll walk out to car park B or whatever, where you could still, at that time, pick people up for free. Unfortunately, they've got this roundabout, and a roundabout, you can't stop on a roundabout and check and look at your map and look at your directions and get out your OS map. You can't do that because you're on a fucking roundabout. They have a roundabout and they have signs that aren't really clear. I mean, they're fairly clear, but not massively clear. And I accidentally took the first left when I should have taken the right. And there was nowhere to turn around. It was straight off the roundabout into a barrier gate. And that's it, £10. £10 to go in and out of the car park, which wasn't the car park that I wanted to go to. I wanted to go to the free, well, not the free car park, but the one that I didn't have to pay to pick someone up in. And there you go, little mistake there. I was driving, obviously, I was trying to pay attention and look which way I was going, but it was unfamiliar roads, unfamiliar places. I don't fly that often, obviously, it's me. And yeah, I got stung for that. And you're absolutely right, Ian. It is just really grim, the lengths that they go to, because don't forget, at some point, they have had a meeting around a table or perhaps on Zoom, and they've said, how can we fuck people over and get money out the fuckers as much as humanly fucking possible? How can we make it so that every mistake a human makes in their life comes with a fine? There is some fucking fine to go with it. And we're not talking about like malicious mistakes. We're not talking about doing horrible things. We're talking about making an innocent mistake. Apparently there's no such thing as an innocent mistake now, because some corporation, some CEO, some fucking shareholder will take money out of your ass for you making an innocent mistake, for you not reading all the instructions that are presented to us all the fucking time. Information overload that we have to, live with. And product maximization demands minimizing uncertainty. So automated factories, automated distribution centers, automated distribution via drones. Humans are unpredictable. They get sick. They can have a bad day. They can form a union. They need time off. The bastards. How dare they? Whereas machines, robots, AI, well, they can work all the time. And real innovation now means innovation in avoiding responsibility for these companies. Outsourcing, 0-hour contracts, the gig economy, tax havens springing up everywhere. The cutting corners isn't a malfunction of capitalism. It's not a bug, it's a feature. They cut corners everywhere. Every safety measure has a price tag that they don't want to pay. The old sum that is put in front of you in the movie Fight Club, where he says, we do product recalls for cars, and if there's a fault with the car, we have to make the decision on how many people are going to die because of this fault and how much they'll sue us for. And if that price of how many people will die and how many people will sue is a lower cost to the company than a product recall, to recall all the cars and fix the sticking accelerator or whatever it is that is a problem with this particular model of car, they leave it. They don't do the recall. They don't recall the cars and fix them, because it's better to kill people and pay the fines. Same with our water companies. For many years, it was cheaper. It was insanely cheaper to not fix the rivers, to pour shit into our rivers instead, and just pay the fucking fines. Cheaper. It's cheaper. Well, why would you fix a problem that's going to cost you billions when you're going to get fined and that's only cost you millions? When human life becomes a costed risk to the profit margin, death becomes cheaper than doing the right thing. And this is why this idea that the tech bros are going to have those techno-feudalist societies growing up in America, they're going to be absolute fucking hellholes so fucking quickly you would not believe. There's going to be murder, there'll be rape, there'll be armed robbery, there will be carjacking. It's going to be fucked. It's going to be fucked beyond all recognition. And then we've got some examples here where companies have literally killed people for their profit margin. Boeing prioritised scheduling of the delivery of aircraft and cost after the McDonnell-Douglas merger in the 90s, leading to numerous safety failures and crashes. Famously, the 737 Max, was it, that kept crashing? It crashed in Indonesia, and then there's a crash. Where was it? Was it in Ethiopia? I think. Killed everyone on board, and it was because of a fault, and it was because they were cutting corners. They were just cutting corners, and there was one piece of the whole setup with no redundancy built in, because a bit of redundancy might cause that to pay out some more. And normally, this idea, you have slices of Swiss cheese for a disaster to happen, and you've got to be able to, you got to glide through all the holes. All the holes have got to line up in a particular order, and you get Chernobyl, you get Piper Alpha, you get the Challenger space shuttle explosion. But in this case, there wasn't. It was just one piece of cheese, because there was one thing on that particular aircraft that if it failed, it killed everyone on board. And there was no backup system. There's no way you could override the computer. It was just like, nope, got to kill you all now. Because you know what? Computers don't care about us either. They're not going to go, oh, hang on, if I pitch down and blow up, then that's going to kill everyone on board. That'd be a bad thing, won't it? Computers can't make moral decisions like that. So, yeah. And then you got Coca-Cola, which has been accused of involvement in the killing of union organisers in Latin America and South America, where people were working for Coca-Cola, distributing, and getting killed as a result of rival distributors. And then Coca-Cola saying, well, they weren't working for us, really. They were just contractors wearing Coca-Cola livery and driving around delivering Coca-Cola. But they weren't really working for Coca-Cola, if you think about it, And then you got the tobacco giants, obviously them hiding the research on cancer for decades. I mean, that's well known about. And then you got pharma companies inflating prices for insulin. I think someone said that it's now £1,000 for your insulin, $1,000 for your insulin in America now. They know patients will die without these drugs. They don't give a shit. Amazon squeezing their workers to breaking point. Denying dignity of even toilet breaks while chasing speed and efficiency. Oil companies sitting on climate data for years, knowingly locking the planet into disaster while pushing augmented denial campaigns and pushing for the war on trans people. That was the oil companies behind that. And Trump's second term of office, he told them, he had a meeting with them, he had a meeting with the oil companies, he had a meeting with the Saudis, the Qataris, the Emiratis, and they said, listen, if we get you back into power, will you let us do whatever the fuck we want? Will you stop all this green revolution stuff? Will you stop all the wind turbines? Will you stop all the solar panels? And he went, fuck yeah, I will. Just give me money. Just give me money. I don't care about the future. I don't care about the planet. He's too thick, The General Motors rolled out vehicles with known fire risks because fixing the flaw, as I said earlier, costs more than settling lawsuits. And these aren't anomalies. These are rational decisions within the current system of late-stage capitalism in which we live. And this idea of turning customers into obstacles, this is why they prefer subscription payments, because computers don't ask for refunds. And automated systems, they reduce human interaction. They want everyone to be a passive consumer. So money comes out of our accounts each month for our rent, our energy, our water, our TV fees, our programs that we use, the games that we play. We don't own anything. The music we listen to, we don't own anything. Everything is just streamed to you, and you pay a subscription. That is the perfect system for them, because it's not you getting off your arse, going into a shop, picking something up, going to the counter and paying your money for it. Because when you do that, you're going to demand more. Just by human nature, because you're actively spending money rather than passively spending money. And they don't want that. They see humans as an inconvenience. They want the whole system automated, with us just as these passive consumers. And these automated systems, they reduce human interaction. I mean, trying to get a response now out of companies who just respond to me with AI fucking slop is just insanely infuriating. It's like, can I speak to a human, please? And AI slop has no empathy. It has no accountability. You can just say whatever the fuck it thinks you want it to say. And when companies chase efficiency, they eliminate, human contact first because it drives down revenue flow. It's easier for them to not have to deal with humans at all. And, loyalty schemes, they call them loyalty schemes. They're not loyalty schemes. They're just there to harvest data and to track habits and to shape behavior. When you go to Tesco and use your Tesco Club card, they are making money out of you. They are making money out of you because they can use that data to inform all kinds of industry around the world. Consumer habits, consumer spending habits. And now they lock you into it because when you go to Tesco, when you go to Sainsbury's, if you don't have a loyalty card, if you don't use one, even the co-op do this now, you've got to pay more for that product for not being a member. Oh, can I become a member? You need a smartphone. Oh, okay, can I use your smartphone? No, you've got to have a smartphone, your own smartphone. Well, you see, I don't have much money. I don't have a smartphone. I just use an old Nokia so I can make phone calls in emergencies. That's all I've got. Well, sorry, you can't have a loyalty card. So I'm going to have to pay £3 more for this pizza. Yeah. It doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem fair. The people who can afford it get free stuff. Like if you get a bank account and you get an expensive bank account, like a Coutts bank account, you get free cash withdrawals everywhere around the world. If you have a normal bank account, you don't get that. So the millionaires get to save £3 every time they take money out from a cash machine anywhere in the world. The rest of us have to pay £3. Vimes boots. Vimes fucking boots. Happy Enough says, AI slop runs most online businesses now and my tolerance for bots is a 0. Computers don't think about the trolley problem. No, they do not. Using public transport to the airport is great if available, says Dave. Well, that's another thing. Liverpool Airport doesn't have a train line going to it. It doesn't have a train line, which I find absolutely fucking ridiculous. And they may have set it up now, so they're never going to get one, but it's not that far from Liverpool South Parkway, and if there was a will there, it is a lot of industrial stuff. But they built it was just like an industrial wasteland, most of that area. But now they've built like a retail park there. Might make it a little bit more difficult to slam a rail line through. But you could have a tram line. You could easily have a Mersey tram that goes off from the parkway onto the road and just trundles along to the airport and drops you outside the airport. We could do that. We have the technology. We have the money. Unfortunately, we're spending so much money on the fact that we left the EU and we've got all these debts to pay because the government, when it was the Tories, just loved to rack up those debts. Because it's someone else's credit card, isn't it? It's not our credit card, And customer service behind robots isn't that. The goal isn't service, is it? Is it? It's just wearing you down until you give up. That's all they want. You just, fuck it then. Can't be arsed. And when we talk about the enshitification of everything, planned obsolescence, where they make something not work anymore. I picked up it's over there now. I had a glass last night, and I looked at it and I thought, this glass, We've had this since I was a baby. Like, I remember these glasses when I was a baby. It still works. Used every day in this house, Still works. Still does the job. Nowadays, you buy anything, 2-3 years, and it'll be fucked. And it's like, not just, this isn't because some new thing has come out. It's because they've made it shit. They make it slower. They make it work slower. They do it on purpose. And Apple got into trouble about this, about slowing down their old iPhones in order to sell their new ones. It's a disgraceful corporate behaviour. And you think about when you bought things in the past, they did last a fuckload longer than stuff does now. Things just break so easily now, and they're not asked because consumer products are a lot cheaper, I guess, than they used to be as a proportion of your income. And so, yeah, we've got a TV there that doesn't it's got lines going across it. It's only a few years old, and it's out of warranty, of course, it's out of warranty. But it's like, oh, for God's sake, We'll go and buy a new TV. And the waste that we're creating as humans is just mind-blowing. I don't want to be all this like old man. Back in my day, everything lasted forever. But man, lots lasted forever. But it was a lot better put together. I don't remember fixing stuff as much when I was younger. I spend half my time fixing. I've got teas made. It's great because you can make a cup of tea or a cup of coffee next to your bed when you wake up. It's just there. It's so good. But it's shit. Like, it's put together really, really shit. It's all plastic and crap. And I have to keep fixing it. I have to keep taking it apart and putting it back together again and fixing it because it's so easily broken just by normal everyday use. Washing machine, the tumble dryer. You know, you get about a year out of it before you have to fix it. And if you're not particularly au fait with fixing the shit, then you've got to pay someone to come and fix your thing for you. Sewing machine. There's a Singer sewing machine. It broke after a year, and we had to get someone in to like fix it. It ended up costing us nearly as much as buying a new Singer sewing machine. Obviously, that's what they want you to do. There were Singer sewing machines from the Victorian era. You know, the ones with the pedal things. They're still working. Still work fine. Still work absolutely fine. George, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Happy Boxing Day and happy next 4 non-days. Yes, we are currently in the perineum of the year between Christmas and New Year. So good luck working out what day it is. George only. Let's face it, not being rich is very expensive. Yeah. As a lot of people watching this have experienced, it's very expensive to be poor. It's very expensive to be disabled. There is definitely a disability tax. Well, okay, well, how about the fact that the hearing aids that Kat can get on the NHS are not really compatible with her being able to do her job, so she has to buy private ones, which cost an absolute fortune. What about the fact that these glasses, I had to get varifocal so I can read and see things at a distance now because I'm getting on. But without these glasses, I can't. And they wanted for 400 quid. 400 quid for a pair of fucking glasses. That's almost a quarter of what I earn in a month. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Wow, that is a disability tax right there because I can't drive without these. I can't do these shows without these. I need them. But this is how much they cost. Or you can get like shit ones on the NHS. But, you know, they know that a lot of us are not going to do that, you know. And then we've got the fact that if we want to go to watch a film at the cinema, me and Kat, we generally have to do a fucking 60-mile round trip to go to the only multiplex in the northeast that happens to be screening that particular film with subtitles on a day that we can go to the cinema. We don't get a choice. We don't get to look at all the different cinemas and all the different listings and all the different times they start and go, oh, well, let's go to this one because it starts at 8 o'clock instead of that one because it starts at 8:15. We don't get that. We've got to go to the one that has subtitles. And usually there's only one in the week that we can possibly get to. And so we're having to pay to use the roads, to drive, to, you know, the energy for the car. Got to pay for all that. Disability tax. There you go. And the companies know this. They make things difficult for people who are struggling because they know we have no choice. And once the consumer is backed into a corner, there's very little we can really do. And and then you've got the fact that workers are being treated as replaceable components in the machine, 0 hours contracts, and you know, turning people into disposable labour supplies, you know, the idea that there's very little security in our jobs anymore. We've got a gig economy, which punishes people working for Amazon or working for Uber who need rest or breaks or, heaven forfend, medical care. The attempts to unionize are met with union busting tactics or retaliation or mass layoffs framed as economic necessity. And the rich fucking love this. Even the people who claim to be, I don't know, rich, patriotic millionaires or whatever, they fucking loved it. They don't want to help. They don't want to bloody give money to people who are, you know, to help content creators unionize, so we can have sick days off, or we can get maternity leave, or we can, have holidays. I'll have a day off once a year. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Just literally just not do anything online for a day. Woo! God, that would be amazing. But no, they don't want to invest in that. They don't want to invest in that. They want to just have a soiree with MPs where they pay for people who are already rich to have some fucking wine. They don't need the wine, guys. They don't need the wine. They can pay for their own fucking wine. They don't need it. But the idea of putting something together, a foundation to support content creators or anyone working in the gig economy, 0 hours contracts like what this is, doing this with YouTube, where fortunately I'm not at the mercy of the algorithm because I don't run it that way. I'm happy with my, 100 viewers watching this, thank you. And the super chat's coming in. Thank you very much to Jenny for the £5 super chat. I get my varifocals from Glasses Direct, half the price of high street opticians. Thanks, Jenny, for that. And obviously, because Specsavers have a 2-for-1 offer, you could argue that it's only 200 quid for your glasses, not 400 quid, but it's still incredibly frustrating, especially when, if I take these to Panama with me, I'm not going to, I'm going to take my old pair, they fuck up because of the heat and the salt water and just the humidity, and they've got a special coating on these glasses that just does not do well with travel. As I learned through my travels through the years, look how I had to fight to get my Bernina sewing machine to be repaired under warranty. The warranty is there for a reason. Yeah. Second-hand manual sewing machines, Elna, Bernier, mine is from the 70s, are the best. Heavy, but almost indestructible. Yeah, absolutely. Samsung got caught sabotaging their phones too. Yeah, does that surprise anyone? Does that surprise anyone? And it's it's also just bad for business. Just ask Saab. But yeah, the way that managers treat complaints as threats, they feel threatened. These companies feel aggrieved at us. They hate us. They genuinely hate us because we complain, and they're like, "How dare you complain?" I took a pair of Levi's back on Saturday or Monday to Levi's in town in Liverpool, where I bought them. Right, these were Levi's that I bought. They were supposed to be 100 quid. I got them on sale, £66 for a pair of Levi's. I never normally spend that much on a pair of fucking pants. Jesus Christ, that's far too much. But it was needs must, and I knew really, I had to get some trousers because I'll be arrested if I continued walking around in my boxies, I think. Anyway, so I paid it, right? And then they ripped at the crotch within 6 weeks. So I took them back. And I went, these are ripped at the crotch. I've worn Levi's all my life. I've never had a pair go that fast. That is ridiculous. And the guy looked at it. He said, I'll have to take it in the back. Took it in the back. Had a word with his manager. Came back out and said, oh no, you'll have to take this up with customer service on the phone line because we can't deal with this. I'm like, why not? He goes, well, because how were you washing it? I'm like, I'll turn them inside out, 30 degrees. He said, did you use fabric softener? And I went, no, didn't use fabric softener. Well, if you use fabric softener, it makes the material fall apart. Sorry, what? You have products that you sell that if you use fabric softener with them, they fall apart within 6 weeks. I'm sorry, but that is not right. That is not fucking right. The enshitification of everything. Yeah, well, you may have turned them inside out like you're told to do, and you may have you may have put it down to 30 degrees so it's not too hot. What are they glued together? What the fuck? And you may have done anything, but did you put fabric softener in there? Did you? No, I wash my jeans just on their own fucking wash, right? Because I don't put it in with everything else because they deserve to get their own wash because they're such delicate fucking things, like me fucking wedding dress or something. You're like, what? Do I have to get it dry cleaned? Is that it? No. The reason it ripped is because you're using substandard fucking materials, and when I spread my legs, basically it just ripped in the fucking gusset. Sorry for that image in your head now, but that's what happened. Because of your shitty fucking materials that you're using to make your jeans, the enshitification of everything. Hi, Mum. Hello. How's it going? David Coombs has just given a £5 to the old Super Chat fund. Thank you very much, David. It's the Sam Vines Boots theory. People in poverty have to buy cheap. Yeah, cheap and inferior. But these weren't even cheap jeans. You know, if I had bought them for a £5 from a thrift shop, that'd be all right. But this is proper Levi's. You know Levi's. You know what their logo is. It's a pair of jeans being pulled apart by two horses going in separate directions to show how strong the jeans are. And nowadays, they don't last 6 weeks. Unbelievable. Tim or a new machine. Bullshit, yeah. If you had said yes to fabric softener, that would have been wrong with that. Yeah. If I said no, I didn't use fabric softener, you're supposed to use fabric softener. If I said yes, I use fabric softener, they shouldn't use fabric softener. They come up with any excuse because they don't care. And this is the thing, right? Levi's, dickheads, right? I've still got a few more years left in me, I hope. I'm never buying a pair of Levi's again for the rest of my life. They can fuck off. Not only, and I said to them, I'm not asking for a refund here. You know, just give me a credit note. I'll get something else. I'll get a shirt or something. At least I've got a shirt from the 90s, a Levi's shirt from the 90s that I still fucking wear. It's fine. It works. It does what it needs to do. You know, it's a thing I can put on me. It's not afraid to fuck. And yet, they've gone, do you know what? This guy can fuck off. Don't want him as a customer. As if there's no options for buying jeans. So, they've lost someone who was otherwise a fairly loyal customer. I'm not particularly loyal to anyone, to be honest with you, but, you know, I was a fairly loyal Levi's customer. When I was travelling around the world, I was wearing a pair of Levi's for the most part. I couldn't get over the price of Levi's when I looked at them a couple of months ago, says Jenny. Yeah, and they're shit. They used to use thick denim that stayed together, and yeah, £100 they want, £100, and they were for 555s, and which are the baggy ones, because they want to sell you those ones that go like tapered at the bottom. And I end up looking like the penguin from fucking Batman Returns or something, because it tapers down to my legs, so it looks like I've got really wide legs at the top, and then it tapers at the bottom. It's just, why would you make jeans that look like that? I'd rather wear flares. I'd well rather wear flares. They look cooler. So unlike Sydney Sweeney, Graham doesn't have great jeans. Yes, that is very true. Mum, I don't have great jeans, apparently. I'm being told. Oh, my mum just looks sad then. You made me mum sad. I was talking about Levi's jeans, but there was a joke that there was a racist joke that Sydney Sweeney told, and now no one wants to watch her shit movies. Hey, have you seen Nicki Minaj? Did you see that she's not releasing her album now because of all the shit she got for turning up at some right-wing rally? She turns up at a Nazi rally. And then she goes off on one about how much she hates trans people, and she got so much stick on the internet that she's cancelled her next album. Ooh, FAFO, Nicki Minaj, or Nicki Minj as I like to call her. So for Levi's jeans, read Brexit. You purchase a product unfit for purpose, you have no redress. Yeah. Levi's 502 are the ones you want, says Kay. I just don't think I'm going to be using Levi's anymore. I thought that was disgraceful. You know, someone comes into your shop, they've got the receipt, these jeans are barely 2 months old, and they've already fallen apart. And do you know what else as well? On my receipt, it had the date, and it was the American way round of telling the time of the date. You know, where they put the month first and then the day? Bastards. Not having that. Not having that Americanization coming over here. Next, they'll be making cheese taste like plastic or chocolate taste like vomit, because that's what they like over there. Because a bunch of fucking weirdos. The chemical that they put into... Is this true? Right, I read this somewhere. I hope you're not eating your breakfast right now. But apparently, the chemical that they put in Hershey's chocolate bars is chemically identical to a gland in a skunk's arse, an anal gland. It might not be a skunk. It might be like a musk rat or something. I don't know. It is a rodent of some description, I think. and basically it's the same. It's chemically indistinguishable from that anal gland. And that's why Americans are so, pissed off all the time. That's why they're so angry. That's why they go around trying to burn down their own parliament building. It's because they don't have biscuits. They don't have Boxing Day. They don't have maternity leave. They don't have chocolate that tastes nice. They took over our chocolate firms. Now we can't even call it fucking chocolate anymore because they've reduced the cocoa in it. They've reduced it to under 50%. In certain chocolate bars like club biscuits. If you like a lot of chocolate on your biscuit, don't join our club because it's not chocolate anymore. It's chocolate substitute. Vomit chemical, Graham, that'll cause a stink. Butyric acid, says not magenta. Yeah, something like that. Someone could look it up. There you go. It's not right. Companies slowly shoulder their way out of refunding. Yeah, I mean, it's just. The thing is as well, right, if you have a product that malfunctions, right, and then you have to go through the shit of trying to take it back, that's an inconvenience, right? And I'll tell you this now, having good customer service, good refund service, right, honestly changes the way you feel about a product. Because if it's shit, you'll never use that product again. You're like, screw those guys, I'm not buying anything off them. Dunelm, for instance, we bought a bed off Dunelm years ago, and now we would never fucking buy anything off them again. It turned up, it was they left it in the rain. It turned up wet. Like, it wasn't left outside our house in the rain. It turned up all these wet boxes, and we opened them, and the bed was wet inside. And we were like, can you take this away? And like, oh, you got to wait 5 days to take it away. And I'm like, I'm supposed to have these wet boxes which stank. They smelled because they've been wet for God knows how long. These cardboard boxes. I'm like, can you get them out of our house? Oh no, you'll have to put them outside. I'm like, what? I'm supposed to put them outside my house, but someone robs them. I'm not gonna get the money back, am I? I'm like, oh well, And it's this thing, right? If you get good customer service, you think, oh, I'm so sorry. I really apologise. We will make it up to you any way we can. And you've said, look, this isn't good. I've always had good products from you. And they go out of their way to make it better. That actually makes you more inclined to use that product again or use that company again. Because you're like, well, at least I know if they do fuck up again in the future, it'll turn out all right. It will all turn out all right in the end. And I don't think corporations and companies understand how important good customer service is, because there's other banks. It's not like you have to stay with Barclays or HSBC or Halifax. You don't have to. There's other options out there. I mean, and we know it. We don't have to stick with these people. And it's very telling that the companies that are a monopoly, the customer service is literally the worst, because they just don't care. They just genuinely don't care. And Sphere Lance, £5 super chat. Oh, you're going to like this, Mum. Sphere Lance says, stop being a potty mouth in front of your mum. And says, hi, Graham's mum and dad.
Hi.
So my mum's thinking, I told you so, Graham, because she often says, do you have to swear so much? And I'm like, yes, I fucking do. Sorry. I grew up at the School of Hard Knocks, Mum, down at the docks.
Yeah.
Well, I learned to speak. The dockers taught me me P's and Q's. Although it was more like the F's and C's. Anyway, so moving on. My brother got flat pack furniture from Dunelm, and they were worse than I expected from Dunelm. They also didn't deliver all the boxes. Totally useless. IKEA for the win. Yeah. Good customer service. It is worth it, because you can use a mistake that your company has made in order to get yourself a loyal customer. Someone will come back to your company. And if you mess it up, they just won't. Like I said, I'm never going to buy a pair of Levi's again after this. Why would I? Piss off. All they had to do was say, okay, yeah, fair enough. They were a bit shit. Maybe they were a bad batch. They weren't a bad batch. It's just the way they're made these days. Here you go. Have a credit note. Get yourself something else that says Levi's on it. I'll walk around. I'll do these shows, and I'll have a little thing here saying Levi's. I'll be advertising their products for them online for free. They didn't want that, clearly. Clearly. Musk glands. Is that what we're talking? Maybe they're badgers. Maybe it's from the bum gland of a badger. That's what they put in American chocolate. That's why it tastes so fucking horrible. I call it war chocolate because it's kind of like it's the chocolate that you would have expected. It's the slightly disappointing chocolate that you got in the care package that was delivered to the lads on the front lines in World War One. You know, just before they were about to go over the top, they're like, "Oh, I've been sent some chocolate. Oh, good." Bite into it. Oh, God, it tastes like cardboard, but you know, yay. Anyway, I suppose if it tasted really nice, maybe they would have refused to go over the top. But if they did, they were shot by the officers. So it wasn't the officers; it was the other troops that shot them. But it was the officers who told them to shoot them. The aristocracy just love taking out the rest of us, don't they? And you know the way that in this country whistleblowing is it's essentially criminalized, because if you blow the whistle on your particular industry, whether it be the pharmaceutical industry, whether it be delivery, Amazon, whatever, Uber, they can make it so you never work in that sector ever again. So you have to go into a whole new job with people that don't mind so much that someone is a whistleblower. In America, there is an incentive to be a whistleblower, because if you blow the whistle and the whistle is blown and there's a class action lawsuit like in Erin Brockovich, and they get this $5 billion sum from this chemical company that's been poisoning people down the stream, you get a cut of it. You get a cut because you were the one who blew the whistle. There you go. A nice incentive if your company is doing something massively illegal to blow the whistle. In this country, nope, you don't get that. You don't get shit for blowing the whistle, and that's why people die. In fact, until now, until the Hillsborough law comes into law, there is no legal reason why you have to say, yeah, we put evil chemicals in that thing to kill all the babies. You can just lie. You can just legally say, I didn't know anything about it, when you absolutely did. Once there is a duty of candour, you've got to tell the truth, because there is a duty to tell the truth. And if you don't tell the truth about something horrible that happens, whether it be Hillsborough or whether it be poisoning babies' bottles, or putting asbestos in talcum powder. Jesus Christ. Jenny Davis, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. We need two more now for confetti. We have IKEA flat pack furniture we bought 23 years ago that had gone through 2 house moves and still in perfect condition. And there's something very satisfying about making stuff out of IKEA. When you put something together, you appreciate it more. It's human psychology. Because you're like, oh, I built that. Oh, I put that wardrobe together. I like that wardrobe a bit more because I put it together. And also, I complained about IKEA at the beginning to say they make you walk through bloody Narnia in order to buy a light bulb. But it's like Lord of the Rings, isn't it? You're going into IKEA. It's like, which way do we go, Gandalf? I don't know. Let's drive through the mines of Moria. And you sort of walking through and look at the bathrooms, look at the kitchens, look at these tins of stuff. And but their customer service, generally speaking, has been pretty good. Take stuff back and they're like, yeah, we'll just replace it. Yeah, that's fine. Graham, did you eventually get the refund for the jeans, and what happened to William's family? Hannah, so I haven't got a refund for the jeans yet because I've got a phone up and I can't be arsed spending 7 hours over Christmas trying to get through to Levi's customer service and sending them pictures of me fucking jeans. I will do it in the new year. They're still under warranty. I mean, I only bought them a few months ago. So yeah, I will do that, and I will pursue it, and I'll tell them in no uncertain terms that I'm never buying their stupid products ever again. Not that they'll care, because I'll probably end up talking to an AI. But my friends ended up deciding not to change the name and hoping that they will not get stopped on the way here or back to New Zealand. And they might get stopped. Who knows? We will see. But I mean, if they do, honestly, I said to them, if that happens, go the media. Because they'd love that story, family Christmas ruined by leaving the L out of the name William. Just wow. Agreed, Graham, the satisfaction is huge. Yeah, it is. It is. It's always better to have things that you've made yourself. You appreciate them more. And things that you've worked for to buy, you appreciate more than things that are given as gifts, unfortunately. I wish we could all appreciate gifts. But it's why I'm down with the hobbits. You know, when it's your birthday, you buy everyone else gifts, which means you get gifts all through the year, except on your birthday when you got to buy everyone else a gift. What a great idea. Let's just do that. Hobbits have the right idea. Except living underground. Not having that. You know that hobbit hole where Bilbo Baggins lives? Full of wood lice. I guarantee it will be absolutely teeming with wood lice. He would take one of those lovely curved wooden panels off the wall, and all that is it's just gonna be wood lice everywhere. Wood lice, earwigs, worms, slugs, snails. Oh, just yeah. You don't want to live in a hole in the ground, you know, even if it does mean comfort. Because unless you live in Coober Pedy in Australia, where they live underground, but it's dead dry there. It's fine. You know, you're carving your home out of sandstone, essentially. So you don't have to worry too much about the wood lice. I love IKEA. Just a shame my nearest one requires 2 trains and 4 buses to get to. Oh, Jesus Christ. Chris, that does not sound like a fun trip to IKEA. But yeah, I'm not surprised people are scared after Boeing says this. Yeah, Boeing allowing, was it the 787 Max, was it? It was something Max, but basically they put these bloody engines on, these old chassis, right, old design chassis. They put these bigger engines on for whatever reason. And I think it was to extend the range or something. But because of these heavier engines, it made the plane more unbalanced, and it relied on this particular part of the plane in order to balance it, so the nose wouldn't dip down because of these extra heavy engines that slapped on the side of it. Instead of starting again with a whole new design, they took an old design and just slapped bigger engines on it, and then had to do things to mitigate the problem of having two engines that are too big on the plane. So yeah, a big grim all around that, and they were prepared to let people die because, you know, profit. And it's a shame because Boeing up to that point until the 90s, they were known for safety. They were renowned for safety because the guy who set up the company was obsessed with having these amazing safety records to say our planes just don't go wrong. If something that happens, it would be because of, you know, some human doing something terrible. And someone I know had their DWP benefits curtailed when a data broker injected change in their address that impacted what was called a cosmetic change. It was the Hertfordshire was changed to Hearts. Yeah. Well, I had for example, I had a Sainsbury's credit card, right? And it recently went over to NatWest, I think. And they just stopped the app working on the day. It wasn't like they had a handover period. It was like on the day it stopped working. Now, I've moved credit cards from one phone to another, and it was dead simple. What you do is you log in on your new phone, on your old phone, and you generate a QR code, and then you get your new phone and you say, I want to move my account onto this phone, and you scan the QR code and it goes okay, and then it opens it up on your phone, on your new phone, right? Brilliant. Do you think that NatWest and Sainsbury's Bank could work that one out? No. So I try and log in to get to my account, you know, to check what's happening. Someone could have just cleared it out. I don't know what's going on because I can't get into my app. And so download the new Halifax app, and there's no like crossover thing where you can just scan the quick QR code or it sends a message or something. I've got to re-register essentially with my old card, and it was like, we're going to send you a code, but we're going to send it to you through the post, and it can take up to 5 working days to arrive. And I'm like, I need to know what my account is now. Why are you making me wait 5 days? So I wait 5 days, I get this code, and it doesn't work. So I try and go in it again, and it generates a new code, which gets sent to me in another 5 days. And I'm like, I don't want you to send me a code. Can you not just send it to my phone? So this takes a month or so. And eventually I've got the time, because I know it's going to take me 2 hours, right? before I call customer service. What I'll do is whenever I need customer service, I'll type the number in my phone, put it on speakerphone, and I'll start making breakfast. You know, I'll be doing something else while I'm listening to the terrible hold music, because I know it's going to take so long for them to answer. Anyway, so I finally get through after 47 minutes waiting to call them. And I'm like, why you keep doing this? Why do you keep sending me this code and it doesn't bloody work? And they're like, well, normally it sends it to your phone. And I'm like, why isn't it sent to me to the phone? And they went, when your information was migrated from Sainsbury's over to NatWest, they put your phone number in the wrong box. Okay, did I make a mistake? No. Okay, can you fix everything for me now? Can you make my app work, please? Just make it work now. No. I'm sorry, I've got to wait. I've got to jump through all these hoops. I've got to wait for another week, etc. I can't access my account. And at the time, it was the end of the month. And what I wanted to do was have a look how much money I had on this particular card, because I was looking at a 0% deal on another card, right? And I was thinking, I could move a bit of money over to that 0% deal, you know, just a few £100, move it over. But I didn't know how much was on this card. And I couldn't check. And I had to wait until the end of November, beginning of December, in order to get this code finally working on my phone, which took a week. And then finally it would send the code I needed to my phone, because they'd migrated it across. Not my mistake. Ended up costing me. Also, did they say sorry? No. Did they say, hey, we'll give you £25 compensation for your bother? No. Did they? Fuck. Because, I mean, will I bank with NatWest in the future? No, never. I'll never open an account with them. I was forced to bank with them because of my credit card moved over, but I'm never using them. I'm piss off. Piss me off now. And there's other options. Maybe when I pay off what's on that credit card, I might just leave it dormant and not use it. I might keep it for emergencies. That's kind of sensible though, isn't it? Ooh, we've got some exciting news. We've got confetti. Oh, Diz, we got confetti. So first of all, Tim Ballum, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. It was to avoid rating change, pilot qualification to fly a particular plane. New plane equals new training. Oh, that's fascinating. And that's why they just slapped bigger engines on the old plane. That's mad, isn't it? Cut costs, cut corners. Jesus. And Liz Allen, $5. Thank you for the Lincoln. Confetti! Yay! Thank you so much for that, Liz. And I will now trigger the confetti. 3, 2, 1. Confetti! Woo! Yes, we did it. We did it. We did it. It's all good. The infuriating thing with that, Graham, is... Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about me. I thought you were saying that, that Graham, he's so... Is that the advisor could easily alter your customer record there and then. Oh, no, they did. They did, but it took a week to go through the system or something. And they said, in the meantime, don't even try to open your app, because it'll send you automatically, because it's all automated. They can't do anything about it. It will automatically send you a bloody... what's it called? It will automatically send you... a new code through the post. I was like, on the phone to them, it's 2025. Why are you sending me stuff through the post? What's wrong with you? Anyway, so another thing I've had with my banks the last couple of months is just trying to send money from my British bank account to my Panamanian bank account that I set up when I was in Panama. You know, the 2 overnight bus journeys I took from Bocas del Toro to Panama City and back again over 2 consecutive nights of very, very uncomfortable sleep. I'm 46. I shouldn't be still doing this shit, but here we are. Anyway, so the rigmarole. I've tried Wise. I've tried HSBC. I've tried my HSBC Global account, which I've launched. Went to the HSBC branch here in Liverpool in Old Swan. They didn't have a fucking clue. They were like, go in this booth and call them up. I'm like, what? Sorry, I'm in the bank. Can I just talk to someone in the bank who knows how to send money to a foreign bank account? Oh, no, sorry. Got to phone them up. I can do that. I've done that. They don't know. Is there anyone here who can help me? No. Okay. Wow. Then again, a few years ago, I was at another branch of HSBC. I won't say which one. And I spoke to their overseas international advisor on international payments and stuff. And the person I spoke to had never heard of Panama. They had never heard of a Panama hat, or the Panama Canal, or a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. They had not heard of the country. Now, listen, I've been to some mad places. If people haven't heard of Tuvalu, or Palau, or Comoros, or St. Kitts and Nevis, or Sao Tome and Principe, or Equatorial Guinea, okay, fair enough, they're a little bit off the beaten track. But a few years ago, we had the Panama Papers. It was all over the news. The Panama, it was on the front page of it. How could you not have heard of the country? And that's fine, if you're just living your life and not really paying attention to that. Maybe you're a dancer like Billy Elliot. You don't need to know where countries are or the names of them or anything. But this was someone working for a bank, specifically the expert that the bank was paying to tell people how to deal with making international payments to other countries. The least I would expect them to have heard of the country, to just have heard of it. You don't need to know where it is. That's fine. I don't mind with that. But just, do you know there's a country called Panama? I was shocked to my core. I was like, bloody hell. But then it's a curse of knowledge, isn't it? You just kind of assume that everyone else knows the shit that you know, and wow, they really don't. But yeah, I was talking about whistleblowing, wasn't I? But let's talk about AI, the obsession with removing humans entirely from the equation when it comes to looking for stuff to buy. We ask AI, where should I buy this thing? And looking how to, travel agents, looking how to go on holiday, where to go. The getting rid of workers because AI can respond to people in customer services, and these ideas of, they're much more reliable than humans because they work 24 hours a day. They're not more reliable than humans because they make mistakes all the time, once AI is handling consumer service, logistics, production, creative work. I mean, can you imagine? It's bad enough now when you're actually dealing with people on the phone and they're just like reading off a flow chart, aren't they? It's going to get even worse. And they're going to say, oh, AI can deal with it. It can't. It's bad enough, this customer service that we get now. And I think this is where a lot of companies could do something smart here. And I'll give the example of Coca-Cola did something stupid this Christmas because they made an AI-generated advert for their sugar water, their fizzy sugar water, right? Which has 39% of your sugar needs for the day in a single can. Jesus. That's a lot of sugar. It's like getting a cup of tea and putting like 6 tablespoons of sugar in your cup of tea. Everyone would be looking at you funny, wouldn't they? I used to do that just to freak people out, but it's not good for you. But yeah, so meanwhile, while they're doing that, Apple did a new ident for their Apple TV or whatever, and they did it all physically. So it looks like it's been done on a computer. It's something that could be done on a computer, but they did it physically with mirrors and glass and having the camera moving around, and they showed how they did it. And watching how they did it is fascinating. So more people watch the ident of like how they put this ident together than would have necessarily seen it on Apple TV. Isn't that mad? Because not that many people have a subscription on Apple TV to compare with the people who watch the making of this. Whereas the Coca-Cola thing is like, we put 70,000 prompts into an AI engine and this is what is spat out, and it's no continuity, no context. Everything looks wrong and freaky and uncanny valley. And I think that Apple did a really smart thing in that respect, that they went, look, humans have made this. And one thing I think that AI is going to do, it's going to drive up the value of human-made. If it's human-made, if you're interacting with a human, if you make a phone call and you're talking to another human, you're going to respond to that more positively than if you're talking to an AI bot. And if a human is indistinguishable to an AI bot, that's not going to be any good either. So, a human who can actually go, okay, yeah, we'll sort that out for you. Don't you worry, your app will be working in the morning. We've got your number, we've got your details. Yeah, we know what phone you've got. Okay, you just log on in the morning, use this code, and happy days. The latest thing is for, e.g., O2 Virgin Media now has AI that listens to all the calls in real time. It's called Lumi AI. In real time, it listens and tells the call agents what to say to us. Gross. Oh, God. You have absolutely zero sugar needs each day. Carbohydrates requirement, yes. You have no requirements for sugar ever. Well, it's unnatural, isn't it? We wouldn't eat sugar in nature, really. Why would we? And then we've got the, AI is like the final bypass of society, isn't it? It stops consumers ever interacting with humans ever again. We buy everything off the internet. It's all handled by AI. And then if we have a problem, customer service is all AI. And, empathy is going to be completely replaced with data. So yeah, and then you've got the sort of value clash between corporations and society. Most people value fairness and security and dignity, community, honesty, shared prosperity. Whereas corporations value efficiency and productivity and extraction and shareholder returns and scale. This value mismatch, it guarantees conflict. We want a livable world and they just want a profitable one. And the decline of unions and regulations and guardrails that once aligned corporate power with societal needs is being eroded and in some cases just wholesale ripped out. And without the strong counterweights, corporations will act more and more like feudal lords, both to the people who work for them, but also to us, the customers who are buying their shit. And they are left accountable to no one but their shareholders, and they have a legal obligation to try and make more money for the shareholders every year. And corporations, they know we hate them and they don't care. Consumers feel trapped by monopolies with no alternatives, no leverage, no choice, and workers feeling like they are disposable, treated as liabilities rather than assets. And customers are being scammed by hidden fees, dip pricing, algorithmic price discrimination. You saw last summer the Oasis tickets when they went up last year now, when the tickets went on sale and they had a surge pricing thing, so people paid like 400 quid to go and see fucking Oasis. The hidden fees when you go fly and you turn up at the airport and sorry, your bag's 1 inch too big and we're gonna have to charge you now for a bag fee. It's £43, but the flight was only £40 to start with. I thought I got myself a cheap flight now. And then corporations don't fear bad publicity because of because they've got the monopolies, they've got the patents. They're the only people who can make that shit. So, fuck off. And then you got the market dominance, which insulates them from consequences. You got the profits that shield them from moral evaluation, and they measure success in returns and not in human outcomes. And how do we fix this is the question that we should all be asking ourselves at the moment. Well, first of all, we need to strengthen frickin' unions, as I said the other day, restore worker power and workplace democracy. We need regulations. Regulation is for the nation, for internationally as well, across the EU, regulations and requirements, safety requirements. This idea of having regulatory alignment throughout different countries. And also the fine for breaking these rules has got to exceed the savings they make or the profits they make from wrongdoing. And breaking up with these monopolies restores customer choice, which reduces corporations' ability to operate with impunity. And also tax reform we need to stop these bastards, like what Starbucks do, where they say no Starbucks in this country makes any money, because it's funny because they made $5 billion in profit, but we charge them from our American company or other American company that owns the logo. We charge them 5 billion, yeah, for this year. 4.7 billion. We charge. They made 4.7 billion, but we charged them 4.7 billion for using our logo. So we didn't actually make any money. If you think about it, we don't have to pay any corporation tax. Ha! You know, and obviously we want to see tax reform, but also public ownership of essential goods, things that are monopolies, natural monopolies, water, energy, healthcare, broadband, the railways, so that those things can align with the interests of citizens, not shareholders. Run them as a non-profit if you want to, but don't be beholden to the shareholders. And we'll put all the money back into the infrastructure. That's what we should be doing, especially with stuff like water, like with energy. It should all go back into the system. And none of this requires us to, you know, hate businesses. It requires on businesses serving society. And then the mutual hatred that is felt between us as humans and the corporations that seem to want to get away with murder, maybe a little bit of that mutual hatred will ebb away slightly. I don't know. But at the moment, it does very much feel like these corporations hate our guts. Perhaps they hate us more than we even hate them. And, you know, they hate the friction that we represent. I think that is just a good way of putting it. I want to find out whose quote this was, because I'm going to be using it now for a while, I think. Saying that corporations seem to resent that humans stand in the way of the money that they want. They want to extract the money without the human in the middle. And, you know, democracy, humanity, and society depends on, you know, what we would call inefficiencies. You know, people get sick, we argue, we demand rights. It's because that's what makes us people, not machines. We aren't machines, whether we're working or whether we're buying stuff from these companies. We are not machines. And we shouldn't be treated as such. And we need there to be a wholesale rethink in the corporate minds of these people who work for these companies to place a value on humans that is higher than the value that they place on machines, on AI, on robots, on automation. I wish that the American these American corporations, Nvidia and Apple and Microsoft and Google, I wish they were investing $1.5 trillion in humans. Wouldn't that be amazing? If they did, they could end world hunger tomorrow. But they're not. They're investing it in AI. They're helping out AI to, I don't know, live a nice life, I guess. And, you know, we can't let efficiency outrank humanity at the end of the day. Capitalism should serve people. And it does if it's held to account and we have some good socialistic policies in place that make these companies accountable and make them not a monopoly and make them not be allowed to take the piss out of us, out of our statutory rights. I can't believe that I can take a pair of ripped Levi's, two Levi's, and say, hey, these ripped within a couple of months. Could I have a refund or a different pair of jeans? And they say, no, you used fabric softener. Fuck off. You know, away with you, sir. How dare you use fabric? I didn't use fabric softener, but that's what they reckoned. I didn't use fabric softener. Oh, well, you know, you obviously put it on too high a temperature. I'll put it on 30 degrees. What happened to the customer always being right? There you go. Jenny, agree, Graham. Water and energy companies should be reinvesting their profits, not sharing it out amongst the shareholders while the company goes to shit. And yes, I'm looking at you, Thames Water. Yeah, transport especially. I mean, we are renationalising the trains and re-regulating the buses, which is right. But yeah. Chris C says, Ryanair is the worst for hidden fees. Surprised they don't charge passengers for using the loo. Don't give them ideas, Chris. Don't give them ideas. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. I could go to the papers very, very, very quickly, but I do have to get off because I'm going to be heading back to Durham today. Andrew's girls opt for the firm over mum and dad. So they've got pictures of the Royals there. We've got the Reeves 1 billion Boxing Day sales slump, according to the Mail. Retailers set to take devastating hit over flatlining economy and collapsing consumer confidence. That's a punt there from the Daily Mail. It's Boxing Day today, and they printed that before Boxing Day happened. So how do they know? I don't know how they know. Teacher likened to terrorist for Trump film. Don't know what happened there, but there's a Telegraph being seedy, weird knobheads and putting a picture of some random girl from number 42 up the street, and they just put the picture of her, and they printed out 300,000 copies of that picture and distributed it amongst the population. We've got the Times here, 25 people a day dying on NHS waiting list, which is a terrible story, and yeah, it's because of the terrible Tories winding down the NHS. It's going to take a while to fix all that up, isn't it? And Guardian there, experts criticise lost decade of progress on rights for parents. We've also got a picture of the family there, the gran and the granddad. We've got threat to Labour from Refuck and Greens puts UK into a new political era, which is quite interesting. We've got the Mirror here, my faith in our future. We've got the granddad there. We've got some kids from the grandparents, the grandkid there. Very important that we see what they look like, because if we forget, then the ravens will leave the Tower of London, and Big Ben won't chime again. The bells will fall silent, and everyone will be sad. The liver birds will fly away. If we don't see pictures of these motherfuckers every fucking day, that's it. That's it for us as humans. Daily Star there, naughty and spice with the family fracas, and we've got the Independent here. Shock poll: 1/3 of Labour voters says Starmer should quit. Is it only a third? And then we've got these horse-faced goons here, because you need to know what they look like. Don't forget what they look like. If you forget what they look like, you're in trouble. Whoa! Everything's going off here. Sorry. Oh my god. My name, welcome members, super chat and confetti all at once. Sorry about that. Tim, you got everything there for the £2 super chat. Graham, you so need to watch some Louis Rossman. I'll try and remember. Anyway, thousands of homes were left without water in Essex yesterday as the reservoirs ran very low. Southern water report. How? It's been raining for the last 2 months. How? Customer is always right on matters of taste, says Just Me and Vids. Hey, Just Me and Vids, if you want to rewind to the beginning of the video, I did say that. My friends, this is not my first rodeo. Although yesterday I was like, there's no gold in Britain. And everyone was like, yes, there is, Graham. So yeah, there's a little bit. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this morning. I'm going to head off now back to Durham. There is no agenda today. Phil's having a day off because it's Boxing Day. And why would you work on Boxing Day? But hopefully I will return later. I don't know who's going to be with me, because I think people are away on holiday and recovering from excessive Xmas. But hopefully we'll have a little bit of a Friday night social tonight, and I'd love you to join us for that, and if you can. And if not, I will be back on Sunday with my Sunday sermon, and which might be on Sunday. No, it'll be Sunday morning. So yeah, look out for that if I don't see you tonight on the old social. But please join us on the social. It's always fun. I might steal my mum's port. Mum, can I steal your port? Mum? Oh, she can't hear me. Take that with me. Anyway, yeah, so I might have a drink because it's Christmas. But I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Really appreciate it. Really good. And also, if you can subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I know half the people watching this are not subscribed. And we just had a membership, a gift membership from Paulie Donkey, which has gone to Paulie Donkey. Well done, Paulie Donkey. Well done for your gift membership. So welcome to the channel. That's brilliant. I love the fact that it went back to you in that way. So yeah, love and life to all of you, and have a happy Boxing Day. It's really lovely here in Liverpool today. The sun is out. It's beautiful. So enjoy your day, and hopefully I'll see you tonight. And until then, say thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.